The village was small, surrounded by golden wheat fields and rolling hills, where life seemed simple but not always kind. In that place lived a little girl named Clara, just 8 years old, with bright eyes full of innocence and a spirit stronger than her small frame revealed. She helped her mother tend their small farm, carrying buckets of water, feeding the animals, and sometimes running barefoot through the meadows, her laughter echoing in the wind. But not everyone in the village appreciated her joy. A group of older boys, jealous and cruel, made her their target. They saw her worn dress, her dusty shoes, and her unpolished life, and believed she was beneath them. One afternoon, as Clara carried a basket of eggs from the henhouse, the boys cornered her. Their leader sneered, shouting words too harsh for such a young heart to bear. "You don't belong here, farm rat." They shoved her, mocking her calloused hands and tangled hair. Clara tried to hold her ground, whispering, "Please stop, I didn't do anything to you." But mercy was not in their eyes. One boy picked up a stone and hissed, "Die now." Before striking her, Clara fell, clutching her head as blood trickled down her forehead. The other boys froze for a moment, realizing the line they had crossed, but instead of regret, they laughed nervously, trying to mask their fear. What they didn't know was who Clara's mother truly was. To the village, she was just a hardworking widow, a quiet woman who managed the farm alone after her husband's mysterious death. Her name was Elena. People pitied her, some even mocked her for raising a daughter alone, but Elena carried secrets no one dared to imagine. Before she became a farmer's wife, Elena had been part of something much greater, a force stronger than any one person. She had served years in silence as a special operative, trained in survival, combat, and strategy. She had chosen to leave that world behind to protect her child, but the instincts never left her. When Clara stumbled home, blood on her face and tears streaming down her cheeks, Elena's world shifted. She knelt, wiping the blood gently, her heart shattering, but her eyes turned cold like steel. "Who did this?" she asked softly. Clara hesitated, scared, but the look in her mother's eyes gave her courage. She whispered their names. Elena kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "No one hurts you, my love, not while I breathe." That night the bullies gathered outside the village, boasting about what they had done. Their laughter filled the air until it was cut by the sound of footsteps, steady and deliberate. Elena stood before them, her simple farm dress swaying in the wind, but her presence was overwhelming. "You think it is brave to hurt a child?" she asked, her voice calm, too calm. The boys tried to act tough, but their voices shook as they stammered, We didn't mean." She silenced them with a stare sharper than any blade. "You thought no one would protect her because she is small and I am just a farmer, but you have no idea who you've provoked." One boy tried to laugh it off, but his knees trembled. Elena stepped closer, her shadow long and fierce in the moonlight. She didn't raise her hand to them. She didn't need to. Instead, she told them a story of the places she had been, of the people she had faced who were far more dangerous than spoiled children. She spoke of nights where silence was survival, of days where strength meant saving lives. And then she leaned forward and whispered, "Do you know what the worst kind of enemy is? It's the one who looks harmless until you touch the only thing she loves." The boys could barely breathe under the weight of her words. They finally understood that Clara was not just a farm girl. She was the daughter of someone formidable, someone they should have never crossed. Elena didn't harm them, she didn't have to. Fear itself was her weapon. She made them kneel, swear never to touch Clara again, and then dismissed them like the frightened children they were. The next morning, the village buzzed with whispers. The boys who once strutted with arrogance now avoided Clara, their eyes wide with unspoken terror whenever Elena passed by. No one knew exactly what had happened that night, but the change was undeniable. Clara healed slowly, the wound leaving a faint scar on her forehead, but it became a mark of resilience, a reminder that she was not alone, that her mother's love was stronger than any cruelty the world could throw at her. And Elena, she returned to her chores, tending the fields as if nothing had changed. But everyone who looked at her now saw not just a widow, not just a farmer, but a storm in disguise, a woman whose quiet strength could shake even the most reckless hearts. From that day on, Clara was never touched again. Respect replaced mockery, and fear guarded her innocence where kindness had failed. Because sometimes the world forgets that behind the humblest lives hide the fiercest protectors, and that the greatest mistake bullies can make is underestimating a mother's love. A mother's love is the most unshakable force on earth, an invisible shield that can withstand cruelty, pain, and even death itself. And when the world dares to hurt her child, that love transforms into a storm, silent at first, but unstoppable once awakened, because the heart of a mother does not know surrender. It does not know fear. It only knows the truth that her child is her very soul walking outside her body. And if that soul is threatened, the woman you thought was weak, the woman you thought was ordinary, the woman you thought could be broken, will rise with a strength you cannot measure, with a fire you cannot extinguish, with a courage you cannot comprehend, and she will protect, she will endure. She will fight until the last breath in her lungs, because nothing in this world is more dangerous than a mother who has been forced to defend what she loves. Nothing is fiercer than the quiet woman pushed too far. Nothing is more unyielding than the one who carries both gentleness and fury in same heart. And this is the truth every bully, every oppressor, every cruel soul eventually learns too late, that when you strike a child, you awaken a lioness. When you shed their tears, you summon storms, and when you break their innocence, you call forth a love so powerful it can tear down mountains, silence armies, and bend fate itself, because a mother's love is not just tenderness. It is a vow written in blood and sacrifice, a vow that whispers, as long as I live, no harm will destroy you. And even in the darkest nights, even in the harshest storms, that vow will burn like an eternal flame, unyielding, unbreakable, unstoppable.